Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Fabian Calvo, founder and president of the real estate investment firm The Note House and creator of the Resourceful Real Estate Academy. And as promised, this is one of the training videos that I'm going to be sending out, one of 3 that you'll be getting over the next week. I hope it really serves you. And it covers on what my micro documentary covered on Real Estate's Big Secret, or House of Cards, Real Estate's Big Secret, about how big this opportunity is, as well as giving you an action step that you could go implement right now to begin to tap into this opportunity. But first, let's talk about what that opportunity is and kind of recap what I talked about in the film. If you haven't seen it, I sent you a link to it. And in essence, it talks about these 4 items right here, right? I mean, we still hear, I think almost on a daily basis from the mainstream media that there's some kind of real estate revival, that real estate is recovering. And to a certain extent, that's true. But I think real estate investors, what's important is we know what are the fundamentals of a market, what drives the market. And after, we talked a little bit today and in some of the other videos, you'll see how simple it really is to set yourself apart from all the other real estate investors out there by simply knowing what's driving this market. And what's driving the market right now are that there is still trillions of dollars of toxic debt. I mean, this is what the Resourceful Real Estate Academy is. It teaches you how to tap into what I call the trillion-dollar opportunity of toxic mortgage debt and toxic properties from anywhere in the world without a penny out of your own pocket, taking on any risk, and really needing no real estate license at all. So the toxic debt for residential is trillions of dollars. I mean, at the Note House, we deal with big multi-billion-dollar financial institutions, big regional banks, local banks. And so we're reviewing their balance sheets all the time because they send us portfolios of loans or properties to look at. Not just the big banks or the regional banks, but also a lot of hedge funds as well. So every day I'm on the front lines of reviewing all the toxic properties and toxic mortgage debt that's out there. So we know the inventory is out there. I mean, there's plenty of it. The other thing is bank-owned properties. I'm going to add to this government-owned properties as well, or at least properties owned by government agencies like Fannie Mae, who still has millions of properties. In fact, our own research at the Note House has come back with, at any given moment, there's roughly 20 million homes in the shadow inventory. I mean, take a state like Florida alone. 20% of all homes in Florida are in foreclosure, 20% of them. So it is a tremendous level. And when you factor in a recent Federal Reserve study that showed that if you take all the mortgaged properties in America, every single one of them, and you added up the debt versus the equity, how much actual equity someone has in their home, 97% of all properties that have a mortgage are debt. 97%. That is a staggering number. And these are the Federal Reserve's own figures. So if you look at low equity or no equity as a sign of potential default in the future, well, then that's a pretty big sign. So toxic debt in bank-owned properties is significant. Millions of vacant homes, millions of homes out there that are bank-owned, trillions of dollars in residential, at least $1 trillion in commercial loans that are underwater or that are in default. The third is the big money. And I talked about this a lot in the micro documentary, the big money that is moving into real estate. I mean, whether you look at someone like Warren Buffett or one of the largest hedge fund managers in the world, John Paulson, who recently or over the last year has bought enough vacant lots in California and Colorado to build over 25,000 homes. And that's just one of the investment classes in real estate that he's going after. BlackRock Group is a gigantic private equity firm. They've invested over $2.7 billion in real estate in just the last 12 months. So those are just a few examples of the big money pouring in. In fact, in markets like Phoenix, Tampa, Las Vegas, and so many more metro markets across the country, 50%, if not 70% of every sale is by a big money investor or by a cash investor. So that's a tremendous opportunity right there, and I'll explain in just a second. And the last is the manipulation that's leading to this opportunity. Whether it's the Federal Reserve keeping interest rates at record lows, or it's the Federal Reserve buying $45 billion of mortgage-backed securities every single month, it's pretty clear that this government's doing everything they can, or I should say the US government, and also governments in the Western world are doing what they can to stop the bleeding in the real estate collapse from 2008 and 2009, but it's still around. It's not helping. It's only manipulating prices artificially in the short term, which presents tremendous opportunities long term for investors that begin to tap into the opportunity. Now, there are problems, though, in this market, and there may be problems that you have as an investor. I know because I had them when I started out as well. And what those are is that you might be an investor like the investors we deal with every single day that always tell us, Fabian, where did you get the inventory? Because in the market that we're in, whether it's South Florida, whether it's Atlanta, whether it's Texas, there's a lack of inventory. Now, there's some markets like Detroit where there's still a lot of inventory, but there's also a lot of buyers, even for the worst markets like Detroit. But the inventory is something that I'm going to teach you how to be able to tap into the inventory that all the other investors out there, the regular investors that you're going to be competing with, how they can't tap into that inventory because they don't know where to find it. And although that might sound so simple, it is simple. But that's what the Resourceful Real Estate Academy teaches you, and it breaks down the exact step-by-step blueprint that I've followed for now the last 3 years, and it's really just completely changed my life. So the resources is another thing, or I should say competition first, because competition, if you're a regular investor that's out there, you're likely competing with investors that are cash buyers that can close in 24 hours, and you're like, Fabian, I can't do that. How can I, invest and compete with these people? Well, that's the beauty. You don't need to compete with anyone when you follow this program, when you follow this step-by-step how-to, if you will, because those competitors become your clients. They become, your best buyers. You love working with those people. So that's a great way of really making a fortune in this market. And lastly, one of your problems might be the resources. You just might not have any resources. Like me, when I started, 11 years ago, I was living in a one-bedroom apartment. I had no money. I had no credit. I had dropped out of college, barely graduated out of high school. I mean, it was like the bottom level. And, there were some changes in my life that led to me to begin to really study and invest my time in learning everything I could. I mean, really immersing myself in the real estate market, in the resourceful real estate investing market, right? How could I go from having no money to investing in real estate? And in under 2 years, I made over $1 million implementing the same tactics and strategies I teach in the Resourceful Real Estate Academy. And I proved it in that market, and then recently proved it again just over the last 24 months, implementing the same tactics that allow me to invest every single day without a penny out of my pocket, with properties really all over the place. In fact, we're closing deals almost every single day, whether it's a multi-million-dollar non-performing loan that we're buying, or whether it is a $500 home in Detroit. I mean, to give you the whole entire scale here. And I'd say 90% of the properties that we buy and sell at my firm, the Note House, I've never seen them. I don't know really much about them other than what my underwriting and my analysis of that particular market and property have led me to believe. So that's the opportunity today. That opportunity didn't exist 10 years ago. When I started in the market 10 years ago, I invested in my local geographic market. I was 2 to 3 hours away from maybe the farthest property that I invested in. Today, I am at my home computer or office computer, and I'm investing in properties that are literally thousands of miles away, but it doesn't matter because I'm able to do all the virtual due diligence, all the virtual analysis from my home computer. And that's what is so huge about this market and presents such a huge opportunity. So the resources, although might be a problem to you on the surface, they really shouldn't be. You should be able to turn those actually into an additional strength that you have, because it makes you more resourceful. Now, like I said, when I started out, for me, it was how could I go from, having nothing to being able to be a master, to mastering an investment class as quickly as I could. For me, that was like 90 to 120 days. I continue to learn everything I can about this market, but I believe I've put together a program that allows you to do that in 30 days. In 30 days, you will be you'll be a seasoned real estate investor that is ready to go do deals with multi-billion-dollar financial institutions. I want to give you the first step in what you need to do because look, you could either go out there and do real estate deals in your local neighborhood, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's totally fine. You might compete with the big money investors. You might do a deal or two a year, or you might listen to these types of programs. You might say, Fabian, that information sounds great, but you may never implement it. This program is for, and I want to reach the people that are ready to implement it, that are ready to say, right now, I want to make a huge change in my life. I want to be able to go out there and monetize this real estate market, do deals every single week, and really just change my life for the better, make a fortune in this market, and become a better person along the way. And so that's who I'm talking to here. And I'll tell you, the idea of going out there and tapping into this opportunity of toxic debt, being able to know who to call, where to go, what to say, and then being able to tap into just endless amounts of real estate inventory that your local competitors, your local investors don't have access to, and then being able to deliver that inventory to the big money players, to the other cash investors in your market, that's where you just completely can crush this market, right? It's what I call feeding the big money. You literally feed them inventory that nobody else, not the real estate agents, no one else in that market is able to bring to them. And so the first step that I want you to take is pick your market. I've had people from as far as Japan, Thailand, Taiwan, the UK, Canada, that have invested in the Resourceful Real Estate Academy. And I'll tell you that I love that so much because they're proving what I say every day, which is you could be anywhere. You could be in Antarctica, freezing your butt off, investing in real estate in the US or really in the West. Because, whether it's Europe, whether it's America, it's trillions of dollars of toxic mortgages. That's about to hit in markets like China and also in the Southeast. So this opportunity is truly global, and it's a virtual opportunity. So you can do it from your home office, your home business. Now, step one is picking your market. So now that you could be anywhere, what are the markets you want to invest in? If you're wanting to invest in Atlanta or Phoenix or Orlando, find two markets that you say, I like those markets for whatever reason. I've done my due diligence. I think that's where the opportunity lies. And then what I want you to do is I want you to go to Trulia or go to Zillow or similar type resources. And for Trulia and Zillow, you can basically type in, let's say, Phoenix, Arizona. And what will happen is on the right-hand side of your screen, it'll come up with agents that work in that market. Now, let me just stress this, that any real estate agent that is surviving in this market today likely has a majority of their client base or a big portion of their client base are investors, right? They're investors that are cash investors. So you want to call the agents in those markets. And when you go to Trulia or Zillow on the right-hand side, you want to click on the agents that have the most comments, right? You don't want to click on the agent that has no comments, no activity. Those agents are paying to be up there, to be advertising up there. You want to click on the ones that have the most positive comments, that are closing at least, 10 to 20 deals a month, that are active, that are really, really out there. And you want to ask them, what's the best part of this city to invest? You basically tell them, hey, Mr. John Smith, I'm a real estate investor. I'm looking to start investing in Phoenix, and I want to know what are the better areas and who are some of the big investors that you know of that are buying. Remember, these real estate agents, that's their job, is to work with people like you. So leverage that, leverage their knowledge base to learn as much as you can about the market. I think of markets like Atlanta, South Florida, Tampa, Detroit, and so many more where we have built real strong alliances with some of the best professionals in those markets. And, I found out this to be true when I picked up the phone and I started talking to them. They were like dropping so much knowledge on me that I knew, boom, immediately. I'm like, this is the person. They know so much about this market. I'm going to work with them. And so those are the people that you want to seek out in the two markets that you pick. So that is step one. Go out, find two markets, call those agents, learn what you can. Now, in the next couple of days, I'm going to send you another training video as I promised you, which will cover best buyers. And who are best buyers? What are they? How they can make you rich? And the third video will be about the anatomy of a $100,000 deal. How you can find deals out there and in 30 days make $100,000. I do it all the time. It is absolutely possible. The anatomy of a $100,000 deal, that'll be your third video that I'll be sending out over the next week. So, until then, I hope this serves you. If you have any questions, just post them down below in the comment box. I personally reply to every single one. Share this video with friends of yours that you think may enjoy this. Go out there, be of value, be of service, and become that Resourceful Real Estate Academy expert. Thanks for watching. I'm out.